Hello ladies and gentlemen, and people who come in the categories that those two don't already cover. It's Blackfinch here again, and I promised you on my last Star Citizen video that I would do another video of some Star Citizen and showing the actual gameplay in Arena Commander, so here it is. But a little bit of a digression first. So the reason I say there's going to be a bit of a digression, because I think to understand why this game appealed to me, you need to understand a little of its origins. And there was a wonderful era through the right through to the late 1990s where Starship combat sim games were really very popular, and I guess Wing Commander, the game to whose heritage this owes itself, which came out in 1990, was arguably one of the ones that started this all. And I played the Wing Commander games. Wing Commander 3 I particularly remember, and 4, the first couple I didn't play when they first came out. I went back and subsequently did them, and they're all really quite good. But there is one game, as a young lad, having grown up watching a trilogy of movies that were really very good, that weren't tainted by there being a trilogy of movies set in the same universe, that weren't really very good, certainly didn't live up to the expectations of their predecessors that were actually set after them, and involved one or two annoying characters, some great actors, some god awful actors, and I think you know of whom and of which movie I speak of. But the point is, there was this wonderful pedigree of space combat simulators, and my early computer gaming years were spent living out the childhood dreams I had from watching such movies and flying around in space and flying away bad guys in ships. And I suppose what all computer games are, escapism. Now there has been a drought somewhat on that front for a number of years of a decent space sim. The other one that's worthy of a nod, Elite, which I had, not Frontier Elite, but the original Elite back on the BBC Micro system. Yeah, that's going back. Was a tremendous game, one of the first open sandbox games, and predating its Wing Commander. The dogfighting in it's god awful. You're flying big ships, and then Frontier Elite came out, and that's on things like the Amiga and the Acorn, and on the PC, and I had it on that, and it was also a very good game because of its epic scope. And Elite Dangerous is coming out now. It's another crowdfunded UK-based project worth having a look at. I've had a go at it. I quite enjoyed it. I will probably be getting the game when it comes out, and I know it's seen by many as the natural rival to this, but I think they're going to be two different games. But this, to me, ticks the box of those old classic games. Now, I figure I'll treat you all to a little bit of footage of what I think is probably the best computer game ever to come out. And if you disagree with me, well, you're just wrong. And if you think another computer game has come out that's better, you're again wrong, and whatever justification you've got for it is wrong, because I say so. And that's a winning argument every time. Anyway, I shall give you a little treat.
fighter. Got it. Follow me. I can't take him. Nice shot, Red 2.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the X-Wing series of games, and this is some footage from the original X-Wing, which I purchased today. Again. This came out in 1993, so it's 20 years old, and I won't lie, the graphics do look a little bit dated. Yeah. There's a company that's rehashing a load of the old games. They're running new versions of Windows. Oh, so much of my teenage life was spent playing this game. An absolutely misspent youth. And its sequels, TIE Fighter, and then X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and then X-Wing Alliance, which were all brilliant in their own ways, back before the internet was invented. Now, this had some real perks, this game. I don't ever recall the graphics being particularly spectacular, but my imagination filled in more blanks than it's willing to now, so I have to confess this isn't great. Back when it came out, joysticks didn't have a roll axis, so you couldn't roll, which was really frustrating, because obviously there were opportunities to fly through down gaps and things that would have looked cool and they didn't. But it was a fully three-dimensional space flight sim. You could go in whatever direction you liked. It had a fairly easy to understand targeting system with the two kind of like mirror-y type things you've got in the top and bottom. The ability to flick balance power between shields and weapons and engines was quite nice, and subsequent games were a bit more developed with match speed functions and a more detailed targeting computer that gave you like percentages of enemy shields and things like that, rather than this which just told you when the shield was down and when the hull was damaged. But it didn't need it. It was possible to take on Star Destroyers and do the thing where you knock out their shields by taking out the two shield generators on the bridge, and there are all sorts of awesome scenarios in this game. And then there was an expansion to it called Imperial Pursuit, and a second expansion called B-Wing, which obviously I got both of and completed both of. And I seem to recall being able to, this is like a training scenario with you and two wingmen. That was another nice feature of this game. You had wingmen and you could issue them commands, like attack your target or cover you, or it was fairly basic, but it made a big difference to the outcome of the game. Now in this particular scenario, it was you and your wingmen versus 9 TIE fighters to get you used to the idea of being outnumbered. And this used to be a favourite testing ground of mine, to see how quickly I could kill the TIE fighters. And I think my youthful self would be horrified at this performance today, but I was pleased that without having to look them up I remembered all of the keys, because it's got to have been well over a decade since I played any game in this series. TIE Fighter is available to buy, and when I've completed X-Wing, which, I mean, there's other games I'm more seriously playing at the moment, this will be an occasional escape, or if I'm ever playing on an old laptop that's incapable of running anything modern, hello! Though, I haven't even taken a joystick with me, maybe not, but it will have its moments. There's loads of games, there's Space Quest 4, 5 and 6, hell yes! For those who haven't played those, they were really good kind of story-based sci-fi comedy. But yeah, this is the kind of game that Star Citizen owes its heritage to. And I'm really pleased to see it's been brought back for those of us who were around the first time to have another go at. And secretly, I wish they'd do a remake of this, modernise it, because it was a stunning game. Perhaps, well, I'm not going to sit there and speculate as to how to modernise this game, other than graphically. The scenarios don't massively need changing, and they obviously did improve it when they brought out the TIE Fighter and made it SVGA. This is VGA. TIE Fighter made it SVGA and had polygon graphics and shaders, and then the subsequent games look prettier and prettier, and it's well worth checking them out online. But that slight gaming based tangent aside, back to Star Citizen. Well, we're back here. Hopefully not too anticlimactic. So, actual dogfighting and stuff. Yeah. Well, first things first. We're supposed to put on our helmet for when we go flying. I was really a bit disappointed to discover that if you don't suddenly, keel over dead from lack of oxygen. That would have been hilarious, and a mistake you only make probably twice. Once the first time, and then once a few times later when you forget. That will really annoy you. So this thing here, this is your ship configuring thing. What's its name? Technical garbo. They're calling it the holo table, but it's for configuring your ships. And you can see in here are all my ships, I think. But there's also some extras, because I really don't own this number of ships. Where has this thing gone? I miss it. There was this kind of weird... Back before you could actually fly around, they gave you this thing which let you shoot at the door of your hangar and some little moving targets, and it's awesome. It should back. And it let you try the different guns, and lots of them weren't in yet, so they just made no sound and left a strange square. Anyway, it was something to do in those early days just before you could fly, because it all got a bit delayed. So in terms of the combat mode, I can fly this 300i trainer, which I don't own. It's not the same as the standard 300i, it's got missiles. I can now fly this, the Origin Jumpworks 325, which I do own. This F7A trainer, again, is another one I don't own. Mine is the F7C. You notice it doesn't have the cool turret on the top. It does have slightly different guns. Now, say I wished to make my F7C the trainer, the one that I can fly, make it an F7C. I could take all the bits off the F7C, dump them on this, make it the same, and it would basically function the same. I don't like it as much like that, I have to confess, but it's possible. But, one of the things I'm going to show you today then is configuring your ship. Now, I'm going to load up my 300i trainer, and you'll notice it's got weapons, help, and you get given one bulldog repeater and a whole bunch of these M4A lasers. I suspect this is because I had a ship and I upgraded it and it's left these around. They're not actually terrible, but they're not great. So I'm a big fan of the Omsky VIL-6 laser cannon, and I'm also a fan of ships being similar, so I'm going to yank one of those off of here for reasons that will become clear later. And again, I've got a whole bunch of ammunition in here that I have no idea why I have it here. It's like loads of it, but these missiles, again, for reasons that will become clear in a minute, are all going to come off. And there are other things I can pull off the ship, not the missile launcher, just the missile. There we go. Sometimes you just got to adjust the angle to get to these things, and sometimes it's because I really suck at it. There it is. And you're going to get to spend 10 minutes trying to pull some missiles off. There we go. So there's the missiles off. I mean, if I wanted to pull the launchers off, I could, and I could pull this front gun and blah 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 blah. Pull the power unit out, the thruster, which is cool. What is it now? Power propulsion HE 5.3. Stop. It's hammer time. That'll never ever get boring, if you're me. Right, so I'm going to put my origin jump works 325 on. And you'll notice, instead of having that bulldog repeater on the front, you've got K&W mass driver cameras, which I think is probably better slightly. Does more damage, allegedly, and it bypasses shields, but I haven't seen convincing stats for these things, so you've just got to go by the kind of the blurb. I would imagine it doesn't draw as much energy, being a flap gun that fires ammunition rather than a laser, but I could be wrong. But as I said earlier, I'm a fan of everything being the same, for reasons that will become apparent in the game. So I'm going to take that off, put that on, and the fact that it's disappeared is a good sign. The laser should be there, but it is buggy as you like, and you can see the guns that are on the side have now moved to there, so there we go. The guns are back anyway. There's the third one. Brilliant. Now, the 325, unlike the 300, comes with launchers, but the missiles it comes with as standard is the ASIM-20C Stalker 1s, and they're just not as good as these Marksman ones. So I assume ASIM-09C. Oh no, I lied, that's a 20C, but they just don't seem to be as good. So for those who own the 300i and are thinking, should I upgrade to the 325, you don't get missiles at all on your stock model. Sorry, it's just the funky training one that they've given you. So I'm going to swap these out. Now, it used to save these configs. Okay, admittedly, every time a patch came out, it got rid of them, but we used to save these and it was a lot less bother. So, yeah, that's going to be my config on that. And then all I have to do is tap and press F to turn it off, and you will see here. Oh yeah, I made this as tiny as possible to save them a lot of hassle. And you see, look now, mounted on the front here, is the third one of these lasers, which is nice. I suppose technically the missiles have changed. And I can either engage in the Arena Commander mode by climbing in the cockpit of this, because it's an Arena Commander ship, or if you don't want to faff around with all of that kind of nonsense, but ladders are working today. That's an improvement on the last video. If you don't want to faff them out nonsense, you can just hit escape and it lets you go into the Arena Commander menu, but you know, I'm here now. And we discussed last video, you really couldn't see inside here in that dark and gloomy hangar. It looks awesome. It's full of awesomeness. It's the technical description. No, I really like the colour palette that they've used. The greys, the blacks, and then just a little bit of red to give it some colour. And then your blue control panels. Looks nice. It looks sleek, and it looks. It looks expensive. It looks like, you know, a cheap car that's trying to look expensive, getting to be polished mahogany and whatever if it was a really expensive one, but it's not. But there we go. So These are the ones I've got a choice of. I've just configured my 325A, so I suppose I should use that. Okay, so I'd had a mare of a time. First thing I'm going to do here is switch off Comstab, which is a mode designed to ensure that your ship is pointed where it's flying in the direction you're pointing. So sort of slides and spins and things like that aren't an option in that mode, but it is less disorienting. But I don't like it very much. I'm having power issues with this ship. I seem to get one or two shots and then my lasers are recharging, so if I switch to the power layout, I've got all of my G1 of the guns, so all my power is going into that. He loves to warn me for things far too late. Right, now one of the reasons that I earlier stuck on all guns of the same type is, you see that 2 is, that's my aim point for this weapon. Now, relative to the target speed, I obviously don't want to have loads of types of weapons with different velocities of bullet shell. And that would suck. Really trying, if you hit that boundary, you're dead and out of the game. Well, you're one life down. I cost a life earlier batting around the settings, so I can show you something that resembles good footage. So, these are the marksman missiles, and I didn't quite. We flew out the target area just as I went towards that. Do it now as well. Well, I'm going to have to pull out here because there's that boundary. Right, let's just get out of here. I'm doing about 220. I'm losing him at the moment. Now he appears to be coming back at me. I mean, this is a quick ship, so those vandals are obviously no slouches. But
achieved missile lock.
This is embarrassing.
Achieved missile.
There we go.
Stern shielding at half strength.
So there's a missile out there. It will home in on him, and it usually hits.
Warning. You are approaching simulation boundary.
I wish they put these boundaries a little further out. It's a message I hear just once or twice too often to be entertaining. Great hit, 50 damage. It's going to be crying about that.
Achieved missile locked. Shields.
You are approaching
Achieved missile lock.
So we've done some serious damage to him with that missile. I've only got 4 missiles, as you saw earlier when I loaded them up, so they're quite important to preserve. I'm probably firing from far too far a range here. Now, at the moment, most people would agree that mouse is advantageous, and the most advantageous flight mode is. On a principle level, I object, and will continue to use a joystick. But I get the impression, Chris Roberts, the CEO, chairman, or whatever you want to call it, of Chris Roberts Gaming, included in the name, who are making this game, does a thing each week called 10 for the Chairman. Video that you can watch on the website, on YouTube, and the website is chrisrobertsgaming.com. And he alluded to the fact that the upcoming patch will have things that favour those of us who have honoured the joystick. This is it's because I'm recording footage that this is so awful, this game.
Achieved missile block.
It began with my two wingmen committing suicide. Never the best of starts. Now I've lost the ability to hit things, so all good.
You are approaching simulation boundary.
That is quite annoying, as is the blacking out. Now, if you turn off G-Safe, it's even worse.
You are approaching
But
simulation boundary.
I'm hoping that they put things in game that help you with that. That your pilot becomes more skilled, or you buy more appropriate equipment. You've got better G tolerance, and that would be a nice reward without being
Simulation boundary.
that. Well, I don't know how overpowered it wouldn't be, but I'd appreciate it being less of a concern than it currently is. Now, this is supposed to be an agile ship, and in like the F7.
Warning. You are approaching simulation boundary.
I think the 300i that they put in this game also has some sort of other upgrades.
You are approaching simulation boundary.
This should be better, but I find I perform better in that. I could be lying. I could be deluding myself. Yeah, the dogfighting is quite enjoyable. But I'm not going to spend 15 minutes of you watching me aimlessly trying to kill this guy, hopelessly, so have to suck today. It gives you an idea of what the mechanic is like, and it is quite cool. It certainly feels like you're fighting, it's certainly more cinematic. I've had a little go of the game that people have identified as this one's rival, Elite Dangerous, and I think they're going to be very different games, and that has appeals in other ways. But the dogfighting was certainly not as cinematic or as exciting as it is in this.
Proximity alert.
You are approaching simulation boundary.
And controversially, I don't think
Contact.
it looks as pretty as this does. These ships are cool. I love all of the little manoeuvring jet you turn and stuff, but there have been other modes added.
Core system operation.
Namely this, which is the new Van der Waal operation at the Speedway. And in a second now. Press X when ready. Why? You'll get to see me. This is like the second or third time I've done this, and I'm pretty hopeless. Much like I was at the flying. And I'm sure in time I will become more proficient, and will invest the proper time in this to make myself more proficient. But basically, you got to race, and I'm finding that the trick is to woo! Just go slow and steady till you find your rhythm. And then go through the things, but this is quite good.
Checkpoint.
And for those who've used purely mouse, this is horrible. Horrible to try. If you don't have a joystick, don't play this mode.
Checkpoint.
First one I've hit. There we go.
Time for reintegration.
Has received catastrophic damage.
Catastrophic damage. Yeah, talk about it. Where does it reintegrate me? Oh, it reintegrates me here.
At your service. Core system operational.
Presumably the last checkpoint I went through. Not going to be my best ever lap on account of dying, but you know, until then it looked like I was sort of in control, which is a bonus. But I can see this. It's like a pod racer game, only not rubbish. It doesn't remind me of Anakin Skywalker. So those checkpoints, I get all excited and I accelerate towards them, and then they're my undoing.
Stand by for reintegration.
Yeah.
Weapon system has received catastrophic damage.
I love the trees, I love the look. It's all very cool. The city is cool. The mountain below. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes showing you this mode or how hopeless I am at it. But yeah, I mean, that's a quick look at that. And it is a good giggle, and I probably spent about 15-20 minutes doing it earlier, and I was getting around far quicker. I say earlier, I mean a week ago when I considered showing this. Anyway, I will quickly show one of the other fighters and show a bit of the difference between them in the Vandal Swarm mode. And before we do that though, I'm going to give you a brief look at the loading screen. Isn't it? It starts off pretty and then it just becomes pretty boring. Yeah, it's leading in the direction of... Ooh, the sound of starting. So, this is the Anvil Aerospace F-70 Hornet. And I'm going to do this with the mouse. Also to show a bit of the difference. So let's disable comm staff. Flip back. I find I get a bug. It could be unique to my PC that when I change those sorts of things, I need to exit and return. Right now, you see here, there's a 1 and a 2. That's because I've got two types of weapon system, and both have got an optimum aiming point. Now the mouse makes aiming a lot easier. You just the guns are on, one's on a turret and one's on a pivot point. So I'm just firing the top one at the moment, which is the one on the turret. We'll bring the second into line. Take the, which is a big minigun. See, the second this guy goes anywhere near straight, I just eat holes in him. This is far easier in this mode. This is allegedly a better fighter. Actually, when the Arena Commander model came out, I found I performed far better in its rival. That's the fire of my wingmen, who this game have decided not to commit suicide by driving into asteroids at the start, which is a result. Now there is a match speed option, but I find the combat is so much toing and froing that them down, just to prove that I can kill them. At this range I'm unlikely to hit with anything, but the mouse is just, at the moment, a far easier control method. Unfortunately, I'm sure they will aim to redress that balance, especially when you consider that the chairman responsible for producing the game is more of a traditionalist, and the sort of the wing commander pedigree of this. 2 down. This one, my wingmen have been peppering. Normally I would not be wasting missiles on a little swarm like this, or on the rubble like that. It's out. And he's gone. Yeah. That's what we like to hear. Nah, not so keen on that.
Scanning.
Warning. You are approaching simulation boundary.
I mean, this is the final game flight model. I'll be glad I've invested in this ship.
Scanning. Lock.
Oh, I hope I can get it before I got it. I'm sure that makes sense to somebody. I hope I blow up that asteroid before colliding into it. Yes, it's the English language. It's a wonderful thing. Don't destroy it, son. Don't destroy it.
Lock. Target destroyed.
This ship also carries a far bigger payload of missiles, which was nice. I really look forward to the 2-man version of this. Actually, I think it's going to be limited and really hard to get, so I might not ever get a chance. But certainly something like this that's got a guy operating the gun turret you see back there. Cool view. Oh, that's a new view that wasn't there before. Yeah, we like that. Right, asteroids are then important. What could they possibly do to us?
Collision.
I wasn't nervous, was you? There you are. I'm getting missile friends happy here. You can see, however, the disadvantage of having mismatched weapons. Now, I've got enough bulldogs to go full bulldog on this thing, but they do have a nasty habit of doing no damage. They look great, but it's a lot of bravado and a very little substance as a guns go. Yeah, screw the simulation boundary. Take that simulation boundary.
Systems overheating.
Systems overheating, yes, of course they are. Nah, good job, Warlord.
Zero hostile contact.
And that's 2 waves done. which is a bit more of an acceptable performance. I mean, I think it's in some ways shows the difference between the ships and the difference between control methods. The mouse is certainly easier to use on this ship particularly, and this vessel has got big miniguns which seem to be quite effective. Now there's nothing stopping me mounting them on that, the 325R, and I'm probably going to experiment with the loadouts to see what works for me best. And I hope this has given you guys a better understanding of what this is like. I suppose I really quickly should do a lowdown on the system. So we've got the ability to customize your weapon loadouts to I can, for example, by doing that, bind them all to one control so that I don't have to have separate guns. Or I can bind them to 2 controls or 3, so I can choose which weapons I'm firing, manage my power, and presumably there are going to be some weapons that are more useful versus some targets. So that's quite nice. And then the next screen, you've got your power loadout. By pressing 1, 2 and 3 you can move where on the triangle it is, and you can see what weapons are in, what weapons and equipment pieces are in each of the different segments.
Forward shields, 75%.
Yeah, I'm going to be shot to pieces while I'm talking to you here. And this is your shield status. You see, it's actually quite nice, easy to understand. Again, it's customizable, and there's an elite dude out here who's causing me grief, so I should kill him while I chat to you, he says. Or I can just fly into this asteroid. Let's just do that. I died apparently. Who'd have thought? Anyway, that is the Arena Commander Combat module, and some pointless waffle about other games that are brilliant. If this is of interest to you, you can go to the Robert Space Industries. That's it, robertspaceindustries.com. That's the website. Anything I might have said earlier is a lie. But you can go to the Robert Space Industries website and back the game in whatever capacity you like. They do obviously reward you for being a backer. For those of you who don't own the X-Wing game and haven't played the X-Wing game, now I suppose it's excusable if you're under a certain age and it's maybe passed you by, but
all allies lost.
Yeah, exactly. That's their horror at the thought of you not owning the game. That's what lost them their lives. So I'm going to put the link to the website where it's available in a kind of modern Windows compatible-ish format below. TIE Fighter, the sequel to it's also on there. The Wing Commander games, I noticed some of them on there, and some other amazing older titles, and they're all relatively cheap for those of you who are fanboys, so I'll put that link down below. And I'm midway through recording a couple of World of Tanks videos at the moment, one looking at the Strongholds game mode and some more reviews, so I hope to see you for more Star Citizen, more other games, and more World of Tanks. I'll catch you on the next video.